But we begin with the Fox News alert. President Trump announcing the tragic death of a 20-year-old National Guard member after Wednesday night's ambush in Washington, as another guardsman still fighting for his life.
Madeleine Rivera is live in Washington with the latest. Maddie.
Hi, good morning. Condolences are pouring in today for the family of 20-year-old Sarah Beckstrom, as the family of 24-year-old Andrew Wolf asks for prayers for their son's recovery. The D.C. Fire and EMS Department sharing this video of them honoring Beckstrom as her body was transferred from MedStar Hospital last night. The father of Beckstrom posting on Facebook, "My baby girl has passed to glory. If I don't talk to you, don't be offended. This has been a horrible tragedy." The White House says the president has spoken to Beckstrom's parents. Here he is sharing the tragic news last night.
Just seconds before I went on, right now, I heard that Sarah Beckstrom of West Virginia, one of the guardsmen that we're talking about, highly respected, young, magnificent person, started service in June of 2023, outstanding in every way. She's just passed away. She's no longer with us. She's looking down at us right now. Her young man is fighting for his life. He's in very bad shape. He's fighting for his life.
The death of Beckstrom means the suspect, 29-year-old Ramanullah Lakanwal, will likely face upgraded charges to include murder in the first degree.
The Department of Justice under Attorney General Pam Bondi is committed to a thorough and an impartial investigation where we will hold this perpetrator accountable under the full weight of the law.
Lakanwal evacuated to the U.S. from Afghanistan in 2021. He was granted asylum just this past April. He had worked with the CIA in Kandahar, Afghanistan, as part of an elite Afghan counterterrorism force called Zero Units. He would have been vetted for that role. The New York Times reports a childhood friend of Lakanwal said Mr. Lakanwal had suffered from mental health issues and was disturbed by the casualties his unit had caused. To be clear, though, officials have not shared a motive yet for the shooting, so we still don't have any clear reason as to why Lakanwal allegedly drove from Washington state to the nation's capital, targeting these two Guard members in an ambush-style attack. Todd, Emily, and Griff.
Maddie, thank you. It's just absolutely heartbreaking. And as we come off the Thanksgiving holiday with so much gratitude for those who serve our country, the fact that one young woman who made the ultimate sacrifice on our own soil in the nation's capital because of a horrific ambush is just absolutely devastating, Todd.
And Griff, I know you and I probably had the same reaction. Once she passed, you go from her to her parents. And we heard her dad say his baby girl is gone or something to that effect. And I know you and I are both parents of two young ladies. Mine are a little bit younger. And you put yourself in the position of that father. Your whole life is there to protect her, to raise her. She is your angel. She is your world. And then to have her life snuffed out like that, senselessly by somebody who shouldn't be here is the epitome of tragic.
Yeah, it's a great point, Todd. I can't imagine the grief that this father is feeling. Sarah Beckstrom's 20 years old. I have a 20-year-old daughter. He told the New York Times that she had a mortal wound and then she was holding her hand. And to imagine that moment is unthinkable, unimaginable. Yesterday, when we were interviewing Attorney General Pam Bondi, you saw she's, praised Sarah Beckstrom and also says that the charges are likely to escalate. And you're seeing, I think, some justified, genuine, not only grief out of the administration, but anger. Watch this.
It has been tremendously horrible for these young people's families who are going through this. Right now, I'd like to add something about the young woman. She volunteered to be there on Thanksgiving, working today. She volunteered, as did many of those Guards, men and women, so other people could be home with their families. Yet now their families are in hospital rooms with them while they are fighting for their lives. I will tell you right now, I will tell you early, we will do everything in our power to seek the death penalty against that monster who should not have been in our country.
Yeah, so we saw her in our interview initially fighting back tears, but then it moved to the other emotion, which is anger and frustration. We've got U.S. Attorney for D.C., Jeanine Pirro, coming up a little bit later this morning, and I think she is not going to hold back on the escalation of charges that Vlachenwall is likely to face.
Yeah, and I've noticed that even in the coverage since then, of course, by the liberal and left-wing mainstream media, they're saying that without evidence, the president and administration has been claiming that this person shouldn't have been here and that the vetting procedure failed under the Biden administration. Isn't this the evidence? And by the way, there was plenty of evidence before this. This young woman, life snuffed out, sworn in just 20 hours before this absolute preventable tragedy. And we are supposed to swallow and take that the Biden administration was infallible in their vetting, with their planes chock full, with, as we spoke earlier, with one of the directors of the Immigration Policy Unit saying, this wasn't Operation Allied Welcome, this was Operation Everyone. And that everyone included now murderers. And you flash back to, for example, a litany of Democrats, elected officials, that are stoking fear, not about those that have gotten into our country illegally, whose motives we don't know, who did not undergo a thorough vetting process, but instead about those brave men and women who signed up to protect our freedoms and to protect American safety in cities. Just watch.
I don't think the National Guard should be used for law enforcement. I don't think you have an armed militia in the nation's capital.
Sending in militarized federal immigration agents and National Guard troops to terrorize Chicago or any American community in any state is not the American way.
The president is attempting to send the National Guard to send and terrorize cities.
When you look at these videos coming out of places like Chicago, it makes me incredibly nervous that we're about to see people in law enforcement, people in uniform military get nervous, get stressed, shoot at American civilians.
And yet what the National Guard is doing in these cities is the exact opposite. They are literally, and I use that word too liberally sometimes, but they are literally saving lives. And the numbers bear that out. Let's take a look at crime in D.C. since the National Guard was deployed versus the same time period last year. Total crime down 30%. Homicide, for those of you that don't know, homicide is the killing of another human, down almost 61%. Robbery down almost 50%. Burglary down almost 40%. Motor vehicle theft down 54%. The only thing that is up for some reason, assault with a dangerous weapon. But I think you take the green arrows on that screen any day of the week. And yet Democrats refer to this as terrorizing citizens. No, this is not terrorizing citizens. This is terrorizing criminals so that they don't feel comfortable being criminals. That's what we want. That is literally the only role of government that should be ubiquitous. We have government to, do our roads, and we have government to, help people that are in need. But at the end of the day, the one thing we need our government for is protecting its citizens. The Trump administration is stepping up to do so.
Well, they are. And, all you need to do in D.C., and I live there, is to go out and talk to the citizens that live there. And when the Guard first deployed and started to crack down on crime, I went out and interviewed a few people, to include one woman who her husband was killed trying to stop a mugging. Her eldest son is a paraplegic shot in a drive-by. She told me she did not vote for President Trump, but I asked her about the Guard deployment. She said, I can't believe it didn't happen again. I support this with President Trump. But yet, even still to this day, with those stats you showed, undeniably effective in having an impact in driving down homicide 60%. But yet some media outlets, The Atlantic, still wants to blame President Trump and blame his deployment for this heinous attack we witnessed. Yesterday, they wrote in The Atlantic this: Trump offered a predictable response to the shooting, pausing immigration for anyone from Afghanistan, a move that conveniently ignored how Lochinwall had gotten to the United States. He came as part of Operation Allies Welcome, admitted for his assistance to U.S. troops, and was reportedly granted asylum status after vetting by the Trump administration earlier this year. We are not at war now, but Trump's use of the National Guard suggests that he thinks we are not at peace either. The National Guard is stranded somewhere on this battlefield of partisan politics. They are not ready for this arena, and we should never have asked them to be.
Well, I think that's a massively narrow-sighted and negative and enjoyably from the safety of one's own living room point of view. Because the reality is that a young woman in uniform was assassinated by a crazed lunatic that should not have been here. And so would that person have been a law enforcement officer, a DC Metro Police? Would that person have been a National Guard member in a different state? The deranged lunatic traveled from Bellingham, Washington, where, by the way, he has 5 children and a wife. Being gone, crossing the country for Thanksgiving, I would think have raised some eyebrows in the family. Where is Dad going? Why isn't my husband here for the holiday? So we know that authorities are investigating meticulously that household and his entire orbit. But I am quite positive that it seems that you could not allegedly carry this out in complete anonymity, privacy, and independence. So levying any blame on the President of the United States, who is the one person in this and his administration who actually does keep Americans' safety as a priority and those brave men and women in uniform as a priority, I think all of these journalists should take a step back and actually review that.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.